Yet another high school is mixing religion, education, and football, and receiving some pushback. Coach Joe Kennedy from Washington State's Bremerton High School seems to be defying his own employers, the local school district, and even officials in leading prayers in conjunction with football events. Officials have advised him that he has the right to pray privately, but that if he leads a prayer with the students, he will be violating school district rules, which comply with the principles of the First Amendment. He has been warned by both state and local officials to cease the practice, but he has thus far only expressed insubordination. At least one anonymous atheist student objected strenuously to the practice and decided not to leave matters up to the school district entirely, contacting the nearby Satanic Temple to conduct its own religious rites in parallel with the coach's prayer service. According to plan, the temple had an elaborate event that took place at the field's 50-yard line. There was incense, chanting, and the regular sounding of a gong, as well as chants of Jesus coming from the crowd. Such displays have had some success in placing the issues of religious freedom in stark relief for those who insist on ignoring them. In commenting on the nature of the afterlife, Brian Draper from the London Center for Contemporary Christianity made some remarks that have vexed the country's Christians. Some have suggested that his comments on BBC Radio's Today program were meant to suggest that there is no heaven. He denies that this was his intent, and it may simply be a case of a sloppy headline from one newspaper followed by a social media feeding frenzy, a shocking suggestion, as that is known not to have ever happened before. But there is ample reason for confusion, since the Bible, written mostly in Greek and Hebrew, contains multiple mentions of the afterlife, using different words and phrases, which not all scholars interpret the same way. Almost all religions have some form of eternal existence, but the nature of them can be radically different. The Jewish tradition, from which Christianity evolved, remains somewhat vague on the subject. But over time, Christians, for the most part, have settled on a set of beliefs based on images invented by classical painters involving clouds and heavenly beings with feathered wings flying among them. And for many believers and non-believers alike, the thinking doesn't seem to go much deeper than this. Draper appeared to be attempting to make a point that we should let our good deeds be their own reward, rather than hoping for some eternal payoff, a concept one would think might appeal to everyone. But that sensible message apparently got lost in translation. In Singapore, an all-too-familiar story played out as church funds were diverted from their stated purpose into the private ambitions of church leaders. In this case, 6 leaders of the City of Harvest Church have been convicted of siphoning off funds after a trial that lasted 140 days. Church leader Kong Hee faces the worst potential sentence for diverting $24 million or more into a bond fund intended to finance his wife's singing career. An equal sum was subsequently spent attempting to cover the whole thing up. Oddly, but perhaps not surprisingly, there are some congregants that still express support for the church leaders who are out on bail pending sentencing, all of whom plan to appeal their convictions.